The FujiCast is an independent Loading Zone production.
27th of March.
The FujiCast.
Hello, welcome to Friday's edition of the FujiCast Daily. Hello, Kev, how are you?
I'm all right. Not too bad.
Usually we have a chance to have a little chat beforehand, but we didn't. We sort of we made contact, boof, got straight on with it. I have no idea how your Thursday evening went.
No, hang on. It's not Thursday evening, was it? It was Wednesday evening last night. What? Hang on.
Thursday evening was yesterday.
Today?
We're Friday today. So how did your Thursday evening go? Hello,
right.
Are you with
me,
right
Mother? For an evening that I thought was Wednesday.
Yes. Well, as you said yesterday or the day before, possibly even Tuesday. It's very difficult to know what day you're in or on at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. It was okay. What did we do? We watched a film with the kids. We managed to get some popcorn from somewhere and chilled out, and they fell asleep on the sofa, and we plodded them up the stairs to bed, and shortly followed by us.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you meant shortly followed by drinking 2 vats of red wine or something.
No. I will have to go and into the shop later, but only for essentials, of course.
Yeah.
But I've yet to really go out to the shops. We went for a long walk yesterday with the dogs and stuff. It's easy here, though, you see, in Malmesbury, because we have a lot of countryside.
Yeah.
So
you can actually keep your distance really well, can't you, from people?
We didn't see anybody, it was good, and the few people we did see, everybody kind of crossed the road from each other and everything.
Yeah. We
did do the clapping thing at 8:00 last night, though. That was interesting. The whole street came out, and some people were hitting pots and pans and whoopering and hollering.
Did you hear many people?
Yeah, loads.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. Everybody, we had a kind of little conversation down the road between houses.
Did you?
So, yeah.
That'd be like Chinese whispers. Pass it along.
It reminded me a little bit of in Spain when we're in Spain in the summer, when all of the old ladies and old men come and sit outside their front doors in the evenings because it's cooler, and they just kind of chat up and down the street.
It's interesting, this reset on community and social, the way it'll be socially after this. Unless we've all got really short memories and just go back to the way it was and completely forget that 2020 had happened. I suspect we never will.
No, we definitely won't forget, but there will, of course, be some people who kind of forget pretty quick. But I'm hoping that generally, as a society and as humanity, we remember this time.
Well, I hope so too. I think it's very important that we do. Not only for those that have suffered, of course, and can't forget that the loss of life and those that have suffered ill health because of it. But also really for just the way socially, I think people have come together. I know there've been some idiots, but generally I think people have come together and that's showed actually a better sides.
In a very ironic way, people have come together when they're being told to stay apart.
Yeah, I didn't mean quite literally. Is not quite what I meant. We must say thank you, by the way, to I noticed. Well, you noticed. I didn't notice. You noticed because I'm not trusted with it. Kev looks after the tip jar pennies. That a few people had tipped in there.
Yeah, I noticed this morning there was a handful of shekels came in, which is very kind of you. I don't know, as you know, and I keep saying it, I'm not really bumping around in Facebook at the moment, so I don't know whether somebody's mentioned something or what, but very, very, very thankful. We do, even though it's it's tough times for everybody, we still have to pay our hosting fees for the podcast specifically all that other stuff. So I'm very kind of you.
Yeah, I'm acutely aware. I don't want to sound like Oliver Twist,
Please, sir, I want some more. What? Ask for more?
I know, I don't want to sound like that, but I did have a bit of a surprise actually the other day. I was uploading, I think it was Mondays or Tuesdays, and the uploader stopped, said you can't upload anymore for the whole of the month.
Oh dear.
I said, what? That's because we'd run out of our bandwidth, and of course I completely not bandwidth, our upload amount. I'd completely forgotten, of course, one episode a week. I've always got a little bit of headroom. I had completely run out of headroom, and actually, officially now, even though I've upgraded our account a bit, we can only do 22 days at this rate.
Right. Well, hopefully it'll all be over by then.
22 days in April. No, I think, my friend, we're going to be in for the whole of April. Do you not think that?
Yeah, probably. But also at the same time, those of you that have thrown a couple of pennies into the tip jar, do not feel obliged. No. We are all we're all on tough times at the moment. Absolutely, so it's if you can, lovely. If you can't, do not feel at all uncomfortable about it.
Yep.
Unless you're Lee Glasgow, of course, in which case feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Although he has donated, bless him.
Yeah. Lend us a £5, Lee. Right. From the commercial, we were digging out some of our commercial friends. GF Smith dropped a note. They said through these, and they are the people that make albums. So if you're in the UK, you're probably very familiar with them. But I know some people use them outside the UK as well. Through these strange, difficult times, we at GF Smith hope that our valued customers are staying safe and well. Nothing can quite prepare us for what we're facing now and face in the future to come. But we understand how difficult it is for you, the photographers, certainly if you're out there working on your own. Their sales consultants, Kev, they're working from home using Zoom and FaceTime, a whole host of other social media platforms. They say we'll all come through this dark period and blue skies will show again. We remain positive and have scheduled to be at the photography show NEC in September, which I sincerely hope does happen. Anyway, keep in touch. Love from the GF Smith photography team. So I thought it was quite nice. Put that in the quite nice pile, which is just over there.
Yeah, very nice.
Do you think the photography show will happen in September? Oh, who knows? Well, I'm asking you. You haven't got a crystal ball.
No, I haven't got a crystal ball. I really hope it does. I'm booked to go again. I don't want to lose my fee again.
No, once is enough. Oh. Yeah. I tell you what, the documentary bits on stage will be interesting, won't they? I think, if anybody's rolled in some of their... Anyway, Mike from the Sunshine Coast, Australia, let's launch. Hello, guys. Relatively new to your podcast, catching up slowly. Really appreciate the time and effort that goes into it. Thank you both. During these difficult times, I found an opportunity to get my head down, prepare for the influx of customers in 6 or 12 or 18 months. Who knows? Here is my to-do list to keep us busy. So I thought it was quite interesting. He's sorting his files. You've sorted some files, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done a lot of kind of admin work while I've been sat in front of my window. Yeah,
he's done camera and lens servicing. Oh, I'm not sure Kev's followed you with that one.
No, not quite. I've only got one camera in the house anyway, so I can't.
Yeah, that's true. Listen to 2 business or photography podcasts a day. Get more proficient at Lightroom. Well, you've been not getting more proficient at Lightroom because you're pretty proficient already, aren't you? But you've been trying. Done any more on Capture One?
Yeah, a bit. I'm trying to kind of get my head around that. And we did have a comment about. I said you can't press F and go full screen, and we did a comment from somebody saying just press F and it goes full screen.
Does it?
And I pressed F angrily. I pressed F again and again and again, and it does not go full screen. So I tapped up the king of all goodness, Patrick Larocque, over in Canada, because he uses Capture One religiously, and he said just press F. And so I sent him a little video of what happens when I press F. And in the end, he said, I think you're going to have to buy a Mac.
That didn't really help you. Maybe you have to press Shift F if you're
that doesn't do it either. It's something to do. It doesn't. No, it just doesn't work.
I've
it doesn't.
only got one PC in here. Is there you could do an Alt? What?
No, it doesn't. Nothing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But I have to say that I'm getting more used to it, and it's I don't know. I've yet to put a wedding through it, of course. So that would be the proof in the pudding whether I can get the workflow right with it.
What's a wedding?
Yeah, do you remember those things we used to do to help pay the bills?
What happened to these things called weddings? I don't remember.
Back in the day, during the COVID war.
Yeah. Do you know? Sam said that earlier to the kids. She said, she said one day, when you're talking to your grandchildren, you're going to be saying, during the COVID period, you've just done exactly what she said. And all their kids will say, yeah. Anyway, also he's been reviewing his advertising and promotion strategy. I'm not sure you've been on that one yet, though, have you?
No, not really. I've got nobody to advertise to at the minute.
No, well, actually, these are the times, exactly the times you should be actually marketing, because there's people that's why they say in a recession, your advertising is the last thing that should go, isn't it?
Well, it depends what you're advertising, of course, but put it this way, it doesn't make a whole load of sense for me to. I am tidying up my website, but it doesn't make a whole load of sense to be thinking about blogging and all that kind of stuff now, because there is literally nobody looking to book wedding photographers just yet. But not new clients. Put it that way, there might be a lot of old postponement stuff going on, but throwing a whole load of blog posts online now is you blog posts are time sensitive, and you want to be doing it when when the market is busier again. But that's marketing rather than advertising.
Doesn't that keep your Google juice sort of overflowing with love if you are tickling its
Yes, but you don't want to be losing all of your content at this time. That's for sure. You can obviously put stuff up there, but make sure that you've got enough stuff for when the marketplace picks up again.
I don't know about how you feel about this, but I went to put some stuff up on Instagram, and it kind of contradicts everything I've just said. But I was thinking, should I be putting up lovey-dovey pictures of stuff going on at wedding? I noticed a lot of my peers, contacts, they are doing it, and I was wondering if I was being a bit too squeamish.
I don't think so. I think it's business, isn't it? It's whatever you should be doing. I haven't put anything on for a while. I put a little picture of Rosa. I put a picture of me and Zach Arias and David Hobby and Bert Stefani in Japan. I saw that one. Yeah. That was it, really. Just do what feels comfortable. I feel like some people are probably thinking, being pressured themselves into thinking this is a time when, I have to really kind of market and push myself. But actually at the same time, it should be a time of thinking. Actually, maybe this is a time where I can, sort out some old blog posts or sort out some my editing work or whatever. Whatever it is, but it's don't put pressure on yourselves. It's I don't think that's going to be wise for anybody.
Well, Mike on the Sunshine Coast said, I'm also going for walks, riding my motorcycle and practicing camera skills. There we go. So there's a few things that photographers are doing during this period. Thank you from what.i.c.photography. Put you down there.
Say that again. What was that? I know.
Pick it up again now. It's from excuse me.
Have you got a cough?
No. It's from
I'm going if you have.
that was Jack's birthday cake. I tell you, one of the bad things about this, Kev, is I'm going to get extremely big. We're living on birthday cake. What.i.c.photography.
Is that a website?
It must be, mustn't it?
It might be Instagram address. Yeah.
Weddings, events and portraits. Yeah,
cool.
It's an Instagram. Yeah, whaticphotography.net is the website. I'll put you down there in the you confuse me for a moment pile, which is just over there. Owen Richards. Oh, there was another note, actually, before we do Owen. I'll rescue it back from the pile. Andrew Stoney just wanted to show his appreciation, Kev. He said, thanks both of you for upping the Fujicast offerings. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the honesty too. The honesty is really important, yes. Going from rightfully busy photographers to housebound and leaky bathroom men like the rest of us is very normalising. Have you fixed that bath?
Well, let's just say Gemma's been doing a lot of DIY, bless her. She's painted the hall today. She's sorted the garden out.
What have you done?
I've just kind of
you've kept the business alive.
Doing things, yeah.
Owen Richards. Hi both, just finished listening to episode 64. Question for Kev and question for Neil. Question for Kev. When it comes to street photography locations, what are your favourites? There's a few bits here, actually, so remember these. I've recently, before the virus, visited the Barbican Centre. Found it fascinating for street photography. What do you look for, Kev, when researching and shooting street locations?
I have to say, I don't really research them at all. I mean, I know what works well for me in terms of if I'm taking people out on workshops and everything. But I don't really, if ever I'm in a new country or a new city, I just get up and walk. I remember last time I was in New York, I walked 22 miles on one day. I walked down to the bottom of the island and then back again.
Wow, God.
And just went for it. I think that's, it's a better way of doing it rather than, personally for me, I'd rather than revisit the same place, and you see a lot of street photographers who create beautiful pictures, of course, but they have very similar images in the same locations time after time after time. And that's fine, it's good enough to do, but I'm more interested in the very spontaneous. Spontaneous.
Say again?
Spontaneity, yes. Spontaneous.
No, that's not right. Give him another thank you. Give him the right one. Spontaneous. That's the one.
Yeah. So I don't really research. Not to say that you shouldn't, but
is there a number of photographs you hope to come back with when you you walk in 22 miles? You must be thinking, I've got to have a dozen keepers out of this.
That's tough, isn't it? Because whilst you do want it, the way I always approach street photography is I'm not making money out of it. Okay, if I walk for 22 miles and I have a lovely day and I see some great things and I have a nice meal and maybe a beer in the afternoon in a bar I've never been to, and I come back and I haven't got any pictures, I've had a great day.
That doesn't sound like photography you were out in. It sounds like a pub crawl.
Yeah, but what I don't want to do is go out in the morning and think, right, today I have to go out and get some pictures because, I want to, what am I going to do with them? I need to get them on Instagram so I can get thumbs up and then ruin your day because you've got that obsession going on in your head. That doesn't really interest me. But it's for those people that do make money from that kind of stuff, then of course they need to approach it very differently. But for me, it's all about, what's the word I'm looking for? The cathartic nature, and who was it that said it? Was it Ansel Adams? 10,000 great shots in a year. 10,000 photos in a year to get one great shot.
Yeah, something like that.
Is a good yield. I think we've all put too much pressure on ourselves to show off the pictures.
Yeah.
We had an email actually, and I don't know whether you've got that from somebody, and it was along the lines of, I take pictures, I don't put them online, I don't put them on a website, I don't put them on Instagram. It's not for that. It's just for the sheer enjoyment of it. And I thought, that's pretty rare these days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is rare, isn't it? That's the way that Vivian Maier would have worked.
Yeah,
if you think about
absolutely.
it. I had a question as well. My father, this is Owen Richards, still worked for BBC Wales as a sound supervisor between 64 and 81 before becoming an announcer for radio. How do I pronounce this? Cymru. Cymru?
Cymru.
Do you have to roll your R as well? Don't do that. I used to love going to work with him in the summer holidays and watching work. Wondered who and what influenced you into broadcasting, especially sound. Wogan, I think. Do you remember listening to Terry Wogan? Was your mum a Terry Wogan person? My mum was. Yeah,
I think we used to have one of those massive record players that sat in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
That was about 2 foot taller than me. And it had these big dials and kind of those what are those things called, the little line that goes from number 1 to number 10 and bubbles around in between it. You've got them on your thing in the studio.
What pots they're called?
No, you like
sound attenuators.
No, just little needles.
Oh, needles. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. This one goes to 11.
Yeah. Stick it on 11. Yeah.
But Wogan would have been it for me. I really like him. He was a real storyteller, wasn't he, Wogan? I used to like him. And Jimmy Young. What's the recipe today, Jim? You probably don't remember that. You're too young.
No, I do remember it. And however, I have to say about Wogan, I would only ever listen on my hell time driving back and forth London every day of the week. Right. I would only ever listen to him at Christmas time because he used to do some very, very funny Christmas time stories.
Oh, the Janet and John stuff.
Janet and John.
I'll tell you what, if you're thinking, who are they? If you're on the other side of the pond thinking, who the hell is this person they're talking about? Careful, because he's no longer with us. An absolute broadcasting god in my eyes. But I'm sure
is he dead?
Yeah, you know that.
Terry Wogan?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes, he is. Yes, passed on. Good couple of years ago now.
Really?
Did you not know that, Kev?
No.
Well,
otherwise I wouldn't be going, Terry Wogan, is he dead?
No, true.
Is he dead?
Go and look up Janet and John stories from Terry Wogan on. It's very English British humour. Not English because he's Irish. It's very British, Irish. I'm trying not to get myself in trouble here. Humour. But Janet and John, very, very funny. Lots of innuendo. Yeah, he passed on. I tell you what, I did a wedding.
What's sad about that?
Yeah, I did a wedding in at a very unique location last summer. It's not called a burial ground. What do they call them? You can have weddings there.
Burial ground.
No, it's beautiful. It's a lovely. It's a tree. It's full
Arboretum.
of tree. But it's not called that. Anyway, I went to this place. It's in the Chilterns in England.
Chilterns Burial Ground.
No, I don't think it's called that. And anyway, the wedding was taking place there. It was just so serene. And out in the copse in the woods, the wedding coordinator said to me, "Yeah, Terry Wogan's interned over there." I said, "No way." Said, yeah. So while they were all eating, I went into it was a beautiful day. It was sunny. The sun was coming down through the trees. And I went to visit Terry. When I was working in broadcasting, I don't think I ever got to meet him. I'm not sure I did, even though we were in the same building for a while. But I went to see Terry and passed my regards on to him. But there we go. And also Owen said, programmes to watch, Kev. Poirot, good binge. Yeah. Are you a Poirotist?
Yeah, I got a lot of Poirot. Got a lot of that stuff. I also had the box set of that, as you did your Columbo stuff, but I got rid of it because I haven't got the CD player anymore. But Poirot is great. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And just finally, Benjamin Gillett said here's an idea. For Channel 4, E4 has been running a competition to broadcast animated channel stings that have been made by viewers and creative students. He had a suggestion that during this time, if people wanted to record the ident at the start, just the introduction to the show, that might be quite a nice little idea. Well, I'll leave that to you. Said options, the Fujicast Daily, or the Fujicast, or the lifeblood of the show, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to put that in that's a very good idea. We'll see if anybody finds the time of day to do it, pile, which is just over here. Right, interview time. Spoke to Bryan Caporicci the other day. He, of course, trains photographers, has his business in North America, but obviously the business advice that he has and that he imparted with the other day when we were first talking about the whole thing about what will happen to your business and how you can market your business pushing forward. That was a couple of days ago on the Daily Fujicast. All that advice really works for pretty much everybody wherever they are in the world. And we kind of split this into three, really. We split it into the marketing, then we split it into what's going to happen when people open the doors again, and then we split it into contracts. Today, what will happen when people start showing their faces again and buying photographers? Let's talk about the realities of what you feel is going to happen when the doors open again. Now, everybody in the world has a very different thought about this. I mean, if you look at the way governments are acting, notwithstanding, in my country, in the UK, people saying, "Oh, we acted too late. We're following Italy's line," and it all looks scary, crazy, and frightening for people. Then you've got the Indian government. I think it's 1.2 or 1.3 billion people live in India. They've done a very sharp lockdown and very strict lockdown, whilst in America, of course, Donald Trump, we mentioned him yesterday, still thinks this is all be done because it's a beautiful time of the year in Easter to be having churches full up again. So there's so many different takes on what's going on in the world. But when those doors open again, as a business analyst and a business trainer, what do you think's going to happen?
I think those photographers who have been preparing for it and have been proactive are going to be in the best situation that they possibly can. I think that if you've spent some time communicating with your clients, if you've spent some time setting expectations, if you've spent some time working sort of on your house and getting a marketing system going or getting some kind of tools set up so that you can sort of pour fuel on the fire when this is all over, you're going to be in a really good situation. Those that plan, those in business that are proactive about setting up systems and doing the right thing in business versus always being reactionary, they're always the ones that are successful in the long term. So I think now is the time, like right now, how you spend your time right now will define how it's going to be for you 6 months and 12 months from now. So
notwithstanding, of course, that and I'll count myself here as well, Bryan, that obviously I'm thinking, well, finances don't look fantastic because, I have a reasonably healthy business in terms of what it does and how many bookings I get each year. But, I don't sell widgets or make widgets. So I work in the arts industry. So I don't have this magic money tree sitting out there in the garden that's going to feed me for
you guys don't have
months
those
on
there?
end. No, we don't. Yeah,
Oh.
Could you send some seeds? That would be nice. Probably wouldn't be able to grow them quick enough. But you know what I mean? I think a lot of people in the arts don't necessarily have what I would call a huge bank of resources for moments like this. So it's a mental, in many respects, I see this as a bit of a mental battle. You're trying to park that reality that, okay, there's going to be some wolves at the door. They're not there yet. We talked about the wolves the other day. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is be proactive. And that's what this battle is all about, isn't it?
It's 100% about it. I mean, right now, if you haven't, this is one of the things I talked about in an article that I recently wrote about this. I said, hey, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. This is a famous Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time, today. Yeah. So yes, would have it been the best situation if you had a nest egg built up, if you had planned properly, if you had, financially forecasted the ability to survive 6 months without any income coming in? Absolutely. Those photographers that have done that are doing okay right now. But hindsight's always 2020. Many photographers are not in that situation, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. However, you should take this as a lesson to plan not for next time, but plan for your future. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't planned for it, yes, there is the reality of things are going to be tight right now, and there are some helpful resources and helpful plans that various governments around the world and various institutions around the world have put in place to help entrepreneurs like us. Now, that's going to be very different depending on where you are, obviously, but look into those because there are some opportunities to lessen that burden. But all of that, being put aside, still doesn't negate the fact that right now is the time to focus on where you go from here and how you can make this better when this is all over. And that's why I think planning, kicking up some marketing, getting communication going, getting ready to go full steam ahead when this is all over, that's the best thing that we can do right now as photographers.
Now, I've got a question about flexibility. When we talked the other day, we talked about everybody's get out of bed price has suddenly changed. And that's true, isn't it? And you've got to be flexible.
Oh, like you wouldn't believe, for sure. I mean, it's funny because I've been a photographer myself for 15 years, and I've always been a higher priced photographer. Locally in my area, I've always been probably one of the more expensive ones. So for me, I've always been like, yeah, my get out of, I won't show up to a shoot unless I'm being paid X. And that's always just been the model that I've followed. However, in this kind of time, for many photographers, that number changes because they're seeing the bank account dwindle. They're seeing the bookings go down. They're seeing the cancellations go up. And they're realizing, I'd rather make something than nothing. So I think this is going to be, a mass reset for our industry because a lot of photographers are going to have to go back to the bare bones in terms of that base price. And then from there, it's all about reestablishing brand, reestablishing your value proposition, and working your pricing up from there. This almost equalizes everybody because everybody is in the same position right now.
How much should you hold your nerve on the pricing strategy that you once had?
I don't think we have the luxury to hold it at all. I guess it depends on where you're at in your business. If you've properly planned, I guess how risk averse are you? Do you have enough that, if you held your ground and people aren't willing to pay for it because these are tough times for everybody? Yeah. Do you have enough that you could get by? I mean, if so, then great, hold your ground. But I'm willing to bet 95% of photographers are not in that position to be able to hold their ground. What I also think, Neil, is that you're going to see more photographers diversifying. Now, this is a topic that I am wildly passionate about because this almost is case in point for something I've been talking about for a very, very long time. And it's this idea where for so long, so many photography educators have been saying that you need to specialize. And they've been talking about how you need to do one thing really well, serve one kind of client, and only book that kind of client. Well, that is not going to work when this is all over. I promise you that's not going to work when this is all over. And I think you're going to see more photographers that are diversifying. You're going to see wedding photographers that are starting to offer portraits. You're going to see portrait photographers starting to do boudoir. You're going to see them doing mini sessions. You're going to see them teaching classes. There's going to be a lot more ways that you can make money with your camera or with the skill set that you have from knowing how to use your camera that I think we need to be tapping into because that's how we can get through tough times like this.
I would imagine also that people are going to have to get used to going from being a stills photographer to embracing movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly another idea, right? Is like if you're not having enough wedding photography bookings for this kind of bride, you might need to say, maybe we can do some video. Maybe we can do some this. Maybe we need to round out our skill set a little bit more. Because diversification, those businesses, photography aside, those businesses that are able to survive through times like this are those that have diversified their revenue streams. And if you're only doing one thing for one kind of person, you're going to find yourself struggling right now.
There is a third part to Bryan Caporicci's interview. I told you we're going to chop it into three. And we'll play that out probably next week. Tomorrow and Sunday, Kev's not here because Kev has the weekend off. He's got stuff to do. That seems a very bizarre thing to say now. Saturday's like a Monday. But I know, and it's nice to have some time at the weekend. And actually, I did an interview earlier on. The British journalist, broadcaster and writer John McCarthy knows a thing or two about isolation. That's because he spent 1,943 days, that's over 5 years, as a hostage in the Lebanon, in confinement, sometimes in dark, cold cells, which were literally the size of a double bed. And actually, that was space he shared with another hostage, Brian Keenan. He was the UK's longest held hostage, was John, and during this time where many of us in the world are in our own isolation, as a journalist, as a storyteller, I feel very honoured to have spent some time talking to John McCarthy earlier on today. So this weekend, with some photography to talk about as well, I'm going to play back what I think is a palpable interview. It's a chance to hear from a man who knows a thing or two about feeling locked in and how he dealt with it, with a 2-part mini-series, which I'm going to simply call, I think, 1,943 Days. It's not a gratuitous listen, but it is an engaging story from an exceptionally engaging speaker. John McCarthy on the show, Saturday and Sunday. So there we go, over the weekends. Now, Kev, I know you've just looked up Terry Wogan, haven't you?
You're right. He died in 2016, 31st of January.
I'm so sorry to be the bearer of that news for you.
Is Bruce Forsyth alive as well?
No.
Or dead? He's dead as well.
We're going to play a dead or alive game.
What about Ken Bruce?
No, Ken's still very much alive. Bruce Forsyth did pass on, yeah. Anybody else you'd like to check in on?
Cilla Black?
I think she's still with us. Let me, hang on a minute, let me check.
No, Cilla Black is the only one I know that is dead.
Oh, right.
She's definitely dead.
Is Cilla Black no longer with us? This is very black humour, and I do apologise. Cilla Black?
Cilla Black fell over in Spain, didn't she, last year?
Oh, no, that's 2015. That's awful.
No, it was never before Terry Wogan died.
It was 2015. She lived 27th May 43 to 1st of the August 2015. Cilla Black.
My word.
I know. Don't those years pass quickly?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got caught out with not knowing if somebody was dead as well.
God.
I'm sad about Terry Wogan. My mum's got a signed LP of his.
There we go.
Probably worth a bit now.
Stop, you're not selling the crown jewels in your house. Especially if it's Terry. I'm buying it before anybody else, that's for sure. Well, what a strange way to end the show. We'll see. Well, I'll see you back on the Fuji cast tomorrow for a bit of a special over the weekend. And I'll catch up with you Monday. I'm a bit confused, by the way, Monday. Kev, what do? We've got, it should be main show Monday, but I was having a little listen through it the other day, and there are some bits that may not make sense, considering we recorded that show 3 weeks ago before the world went truly mad.
Oh yeah, I don't know then.
All right. Well, it might.
Let's ask Terry. Let's ask Terry and Cilla.
It might be a daily show on Monday instead of main show Monday. Well, we'll work it out over the weekend, Kev. But any plans over the weekend? What are you up to?
Just going to stay in, I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Might be a nice idea.
It's going to get colder, isn't it?
Well, you keep saying that, but I've not seen this snowy thing come up. You said it's going to be snowing Sunday. It's not snowing Sunday.
Well, the snow icon has gone off MetCheck now, but it's definitely cold and rain.
Oh. Well, you're the harbinger of doom.
The FujiCast is an independent loading zone production. Email the show with your questions and words of wisdom to click@fujicast.co.uk. Email any complaints and political nonsense to our wives, who will deal with your comments in their own good time and in their own good way.